President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday ordered France into its third national lockdown and said the schools would close for 3 weeks as it sought to push back a third wave of COVID-19 infections that threatens to overwhelm hospitals. With the death toll nearing 100,000, intensive care units in the hardest-hit regions are at breaking point, and a slower-than-planned vaccine rollout forced Macron to abandon his goal of keeping the country open to protect the economy. The new measures will be in place for at least 1 month. Macron has sought to avoid a third large-scale lockdown since the start of the year, but his options narrowed as more contagious strains of the coronavirus swept across France and much of Europe. Daily new infections in France have doubled since February to nearly 40,000. The number of COVID-19 patients in intensive care has breached 5,000, exceeding the peak hit during a 6-week-long lockdown late last year.
Indonesia's Transport Ministry said on Wednesday it had recovered the cockpit voice recorder, or CVR, of a Sriwijaya Airjet that crashed into the Java Sea shortly after takeoff on January 9, killing all 62 people on board. Divers found a casing and beacon of the CVR from the 26-year-old Boeing 737-500 within days of the crash, but had spent nearly 3 months searching for the memory unit in relatively shallow but muddy waters. Authorities unveiled the CVR to the media at a news conference in Jakarta on Wednesday. A preliminary report by investigators into the Sriwijaya crash said the plane had an imbalance in engine thrust that eventually led the plane into a sharp roll and then a final dive into the sea. That report included information from the plane's other black box, the flight data recorder, which was recorded soon after the crash. The CVR could help investigators understand the actions taken by the pilots.
Pfizer and BioNTech said on Wednesday their COVID-19 vaccine was safe and effective and produced robust antibody responses in 12 to 15 years old. In a statement, Pfizer said it hopes that vaccinations of the group could begin before the next school year. The new study offers the first evidence of how the vaccine will also work in school-age adolescents. The companies said in a statement that in the trial of 2,260 adolescents aged 12 to 15, there were 18 cases of COVID-19 in the group that got a placebo shot and none in the group that got the vaccine, resulting in 100% efficacy in preventing COVID-19. The vaccine was well tolerated, with side effects in line with those seen among those aged 16 to 25 in the adult trial. Last week, the companies gave the first vaccine doses in a series of trials testing the vaccine in younger children that will eventually go to those as young as 6 months of age.
Chinese vaccine makers Sinopharm and Sinovac have presented data on their COVID-19 vaccines indicating levels of efficacy that would be compatible with those required by the World Health Organization. The WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts, SAGE, hopes to issue recommendations on those vaccines by the end of April. The vaccines would first require WHO emergency use listing. WHO Immunization Director Kate O'Brien said that the WHO continues to monitor safety evidence reviews of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine, but that the shot's benefit-risk profile weighs heavily in favor of its use, amid reports of rare brain blood clots. The panel was comfortable with the vaccine's use since many of the countries using it have safety warning signal systems in place and are not reporting problems. Many European countries briefly stopped using AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine earlier this month, while their drug safety authorities investigated rare cases of blood clots.
Italy has expelled 2 Russian officials involved in suspected spying, Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio said on Wednesday after summoning the Russian ambassador over the affair. Italian police said earlier they had arrested an Italian Navy captain and a Russian diplomat on suspicion of spying after the 2 were caught swapping documents for money at a clandestine meeting. ANSA news agency said NATO documents were among the files the Navy captain passed to the Russian official, raising potential security worries for other members of the Western military alliance. The Kremlin said it hoped Russia and Italy would maintain positive and constructive ties despite the arrest. The incident was the latest in a series of spying accusations in recent months against Russians in European countries. Bulgaria expelled Russian officials on suspicion of spying in March, and the Netherlands did so in December.
The famous pink cherry blossoms of Kyoto this year reached full bloom, the earliest on records going back 12 centuries, a stretch of data that scientists say is unique across the world and recording a pattern that is an indicator of climate change. Cherry blossoms reached peak flowering in Kyoto on March 26, the earliest date in the records that go back to the year 812. According to data collected by Osaka Prefectural University's Environmental Sciences and Technology Division. The temperature rise in climate change has affected cherry blossoms to bloom faster nationwide, but it could also impact its growth as winter temperatures have risen and could hinder hibernation. A researcher said the cherry blossom trees become weaker when it can't hibernate well or can't come out of hibernation. He added that if it can't come out of hibernation, it won't be able to develop further and will have problems growing. Cherry blossoms have long historical and cultural roots in Japan, heralding spring and often leading to lyrical reflections on the transient nature of beauty by those well lubricated with sake or rice wine, in the modern popular form of the affection for them called hanami parties.
Virgin Galactic on Tuesday unveiled its new spaceship, the VSS Imagine, the first of the company's latest generation of commercial spaceships.
Well, the unveil of our new beautiful spaceship marks the expansion of the fleet, with this being the first spaceship of the Virgin Galactic Spaceship 3 class of vehicle.
Branson said their hope for all those who travel on this spaceship is that it will offer new horizons, fresh perspectives, and spark ideas that will bring positive change to our beautiful planet. The company said in a news release that the VSS Imagine is finished entirely with a reflective mirror-like material, which provides thermal protection. Branson said the spaceship will begin the process of ground testing soon, with a test flight program following in the summer from Virgin's Spaceport America in New Mexico.